What follows is a candid look at 5 separate cases of domestic violence against an older adult. Each of the cases is real, not made up or scripted, and each of the subjects are the victims themselves, not actors.
To me, it's a $64,000 question. I'm not lying to you. Sometimes I sit and I think, and I say to myself, why does it happen to me? Or what's the reason? There shouldn't be no reason.
Norman is 77 years old. He lives with his wife and 2 sons, aged 46 and 47. Both of his sons are unemployed and show little interest in finding a job. They have always lived with their parents and are dependent on Norman's income from his Social Security and pension checks. We first taped Norman in a police station a few weeks after he had been severely beaten by one of his sons. This beating was not the first. There had been other beatings going back over a period of 5 years.
So the first thing I knew, I got cracked. I got a black eye. He knocked me on the floor.
From Norman Jr.?
From Norman Jr., yes. I could have signed a complaint then. But the thing was, if I signed a complaint, I was afraid that when I go home, they're going to beat me up.
That's why, but this
That's why I never signed it, because I figured once I get in the house, I'm done.
Yeah.
And I know they'd work me over, believe me, and I don't want that no more. I'm tired of that. I had 3 ribs broke on the left side.
Several times, the Senior Services Division of the Chicago Police Department helped Norman find a place to stay and assisted him in getting orders of protection.
That's when they sent me to these homes.
That's when I first met Norman,
Right.
in the emergency room at the hospital.
Right.
He was brought in there because he used his son Fred's towel by mistake. He was washing his face and he went to dry his face, and Fred happened to be walking by and saw his dad using his towel to dry himself, and he came in there and he took his head and slammed it into the bowl.
Yeah.
And he had to have stitches to close his head up. He was just battered. But since that, he's been out of the house a few times.
Yeah,
and
a
been
few
placed
times.
in shelters, and we placed him in a couple other places. But he'll run into family members and they convince him to come back home.
I always think it's going to get better, but it only lasts so long.
Being completely ostracized from the family, and he has no social life whatsoever, and they take his money, and Norman has to work a few hours a week just to get spending money for himself, because they take all his pension and his Social Security to live on.